Hello everyone, and welcome back to Talk. This is the second episode, and I have a very lovely guest with me today, Orion.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. I love the first episode. I'm excited to talk about music. I'm excited to talk about whatever we get into. This will be a fun one.
For anyone who doesn't know who you are, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm just a general new metal enthusiast, have been my whole life, I'm a musician. I'm half of a band called Drop Spike. The other half is my lovely turntablist Captain Dugog. And I also have a solo electronic project called Orion with three eyes. Music is pretty much all I do outside of, the occasional, live sound and pool stuff outside of here. It's everything I live for, man.
It's a good thing to live for.
Yeah, I agree.
For anyone who didn't see the first episode, the basic premise of what I'm trying to do with these is I have a guest on. They are going to bring 3 or more albums to the table that mean something to them in any shape or form. And we're going to talk about them a little bit. And in between all that, we're going to get to know the person and ask them some various questions. And that's how we're going to break this down.
Awesome.
So just get the first one out of the way right away. What is the first album that you would like to discuss?
I've got a pile here of CDs that I picked out for the episode. So first one, anybody who knows me, this is no shock. Stepa self-titled.
Which is a lovely choice.
Yeah, it's my favorite new metal album of all time. As soon as I heard Spaceships and Airplane back a couple years ago, I was just immediately drawn into Blake's voice and his energy and just the overall style of the band. I've never heard anything like it in my life. There's a childlike innocence to the album as well as its normal new metal snottiness or whatever. And I think the production too is like major label quality, which makes sense because they were going to sign to Sony eventually, I'm pretty sure. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think plans fell through at the last minute. They released on a local label called, I believe, Locomotive. Yeah, Locomotive Music.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was just a really special album, and I've talked to Blake on a couple occasions about some of the songs and the writing process, and specifically Spaceships and Airplanes. I want to say that's my favorite song of all time.
You could have far worse because that is a wonderful song.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the album. It does have a very smooth production, and even when they get heavy every now and then, but the melodic aspects are what draws me to Stepa more than anything.
Yeah.
So
I think his screams are good, but yeah, I'm a sucker for a good melody, and I think this album has just got stacked bangers just on top of each other. Just really good chorus writing, really good. They write good verse riffs, which is really important to me.
They do. They're very catchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you hear about Stepa?
Back in the day, I used to go on YouTube and I just intentionally search up top 10 obscure new metal bands or whatever. And I'd see compilation videos of stuff that had Seated Crown, Level, your typical bands and stuff like that. And then I came across one that had another band on it that I really enjoyed, which is Zero Mind. But there was also yeah. But I think it was the third to last one or something like that. It showed a clip from the music video, Spaceships and Airplanes, and I'm like, oh, what is this? This is different. This is special.
Wait, there's a music video for Spaceships?
It's really low quality, but yeah,
okay.
It's out there.
I don't think I ever knew that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Aside from Spaceships and Airplanes, what are some of your favorite songs from the album?
Shine is fantastic. Spastic, PLU, Sap, I think is fantastic. Mountain is probably my second favorite song off the record. The energy is just so happy on that song where he laughs in the chorus and
Oh, that song.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that just it just triggered it.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's something about that song. It's just has absolutely fantastic energy. So Spaceships and Airplanes, Mountain, and Sap are probably my top 3.
So I kind of already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyways. how much of an influence has this album been on both your taste in music, like searching, and the influence on how you play as a musician?
It definitely has me focusing more on like less technicality and more just trying to write a really catchy groove, because I feel like in nu metal that's extremely important. You got to have something that like hooks in the listener. It can't just be chugging every 5 seconds and thrown in, just you need to have a catchy groove. And I think Step on this album really captures that. Like I covered Spaceships and Airplanes because I definitely felt like it was something that was very conducive to my songwriting.
And the cover is excellent.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Doug does too. Yeah, Blake wrote that song about, I believe, his little brother who died in a car accident many years ago. And I can definitely feel the emotion and the riffs too. The intro riff with the cleans and that follow throughout the verses, I think, is really well written. And Blake sings around it in a, it's a very linear melody, but it works really well. Sorry if I'm stuttering so much.
No, you're perfectly fine.
Okay.
And
yeah.
Spaceships and Airplanes, I completely agree. There is an emotional connection there. Even if you don't know what the song's about, like it tugs. It's a good track.
I knew it was about something serious when I first heard it, but then when he told me what it was actually about, it like all really just connected.
Everything kind of
just finally understood it.
The pieces fit. So if, for instance, somebody who's never heard of Stepa, besides what you've already said, sell the album to them.
Honestly, if you enjoy something that should have been major label, that should have been on the radio, that should have been, way bigger than it was, this band has something for everybody. You have songs like Spaceships and Airplanes and Sad that have that really catchy melodic appeal. You have songs like King of the Fuss, Spastic, Shine that have that really, well, nothing on this gets insanely heavy, but it has really just insane screams and insane, just fun jamming energy. Like you can tell this band just had a lot of fun writing songs like Spastic. I think they did it a lot better than some bands that broke into the mainstream, like Edema.
Crap on somebody. There you go.
Like Edema kind of had that sort of rougher nu metal melodic edge, but I feel like Stepa really had the songwriting chops to back up what they were trying to say, and the lyrics actually are, of substance and not just generic, I'm in pain or.
I was gonna say, like, that's like, I don't no slacking on Edema. I don't have a problem with Edema, but yeah,
I don't hate them.
They lose a lot of traction when it comes to the vocal. The vocals themselves aren't bad. Like Chavez isn't a bad vocalist.
No, he's not.
Lyrically, it's not. There's a very strong lack of substance there.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I felt. And when I was listening to Stepa, there was definitely like I said earlier, the childlike innocence. Like you don't hear many songs about Rubik's cubes and think like, man, this is cool. But
yeah, But there should be more.
Yeah, it's very nostalgic. If you want something just insanely nostalgic and amazing, check out Stepa.
And it does have a punch to it. Like, yes, it doesn't get, it's not Slipknot. You're not going to get that from Stepa.
Yeah, no. But, if you like Linkin Park or something like that, you definitely get a kick out of this record for sure.
Not quite as much of like the rap rock elements, but yes, definitely like the aura of Linkin Park, that melody.
But the melodic, chunky riffs and the vocals for sure, you'll get a kick out of it.
So, what was some of the first, like, I know nu metal is a big part of your listening, and I know as well metalcore is. Yeah. What was some of your earliest musical interests? Like just early Orion?
Well, the first band I ever got to on my own is actually this Danish band called Cryoshell.
I don't think I've heard of them.
Okay, there was a line of Legos back in the day called Bionicle, and they did a lot of songs for like the Bionicle ads and stuff like that. Okay. But they were like a legit band, like Lego licensed the songs or whatever. But like that self-titled album that came out in 2010, like it legitimately is an amazing album. I like songs like "Creeping in My Soul," closer to the truth, "Bye Bye Babylon," "Feed," "Murky." there's a lot of songs on that record that really spoke to me as a kid and still do. I still enjoy that record a lot even now. And it was around the same time I was also getting into Evanescence, Linkin Park, Korn. You know, I've been listening to that stuff since I was like a little kid. Like one of my first CDs that I ever got was Untouchables.
Which I've stated it multiple times. That's my favorite Korn album. And
It's up there for me.
I get crap for it, but like and I feel I said this with Santiago, like the reason the first Korn album, I understand its importance, isn't my favorite Korn album is because Follow the Leader was my first Korn album. So I came in when they had like strong production, and then heard Issues, and then heard Untouchables, and then I heard Self-Titled. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
A little rough. It's like hearing White Pony from Deftones and then being shown Adrenaline. It's kind of a like 180.
It's a massive tonal shift. You wouldn't think that a band who wrote Digital Bath also wrote Nosebleed.
Yeah.
You know, like,
like night and day.
Yeah, even though I love both of those records.
Yeah, no, they are like Adrenaline took me longer to grow on me than Korn did, but eventually I did come around to Adrenaline.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic.
So
but
I was gonna say, so nu metal was pretty early on. What when did you start digging into more underground stuff, or was it via going on YouTube and looking up obscure lists?
That was entirely YouTube. I remember one night I came home from, it was like a Christmas party or something, and I got a recommendation for this album called Irate, Infinite Rebellion Against the Establishment. And I saw that there, the album cover, I was into this game at the time called Manhunt.
I remember Manhunt.
And I was like, oh, this sort of looks like Manhunt. I wonder what this album sounds like. And I clicked on it. I listened to it. I really was struck by the track Vertigo. And I
like Vertigo.
Yeah. So I was just like, okay, where was this album? Like, you know, so I just went down this rabbit hole, you know, with Hassub or whatever. And I was like, wow, there's more bands than just what they play on the radio. Like, you know, that was like mind blowing to me at the time. It was like, you know, there's this world of tiny bands that never made it to the place where they probably should have. And, you know, I've always been for the underdogs, and, you know.
100% with you.
Yeah. I think it's.
Like
I think some of the music,
Oh, no, keep going.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think some of the music I've heard from underground acts is significantly better than anything I'll ever hear on the radio or mainstream, you know, especially nowadays.
Yeah, there tends to be more heart to it. And there is this special feeling you get when you first hear a band that like you're like you hear it, even if you hear it on the radio and you're like, oh, this band, and like nobody else knows who it is. Nobody's ever heard of it.
Yeah, it makes you feel smarter.
Yeah. Like I remember, this is a million years ago, but I remember in 99, like almost everything I listened to was mainstream at that point. Like, but I remember I was watching TV, and it was probably like MTV2 or whatever, and Dope came on.
Okay.
And I had I'd never heard, like, nu metal was building up. Like, I knew who Limp Bizkit and like Korn and all those bands were.
Of course, yeah.
But like Dope, I was like, oh, this is interesting. It kind of has the nu metal thing, and it kind of has an industrial thing. I was like, oh, this is neat. And then like I found it at the store, and I was like telling people about it, and they're like, I have no idea who you're talking about. And like,
there's that special sort of privilege almost.
It took until they did that cover of You Spin Me Right Round where everyone was like, oh, Dope. I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's always the cover.
Yeah. I mean, it worked.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
So, when did you, because we did lightly discuss at the beginning, when did you grow an interest in making music?
A lot of that really came from a couple of places. One, because like in middle school or whatever, I was listening to a lot of bands like Mudvayne and Dream Theater, and I loved Ryan Martini and John Myung's bass. You know, I just thought the sound of like a really good bass player was just incredible. Like that opening riff to Severed by Mudvayne. I was like, I want to do that. Because at the time, like, I really didn't have many talents. I was a decent artist, but I had nothing that I really wanted to pursue. So my mom, for my birthday, got me a bass off of this app called Let Go, which is no longer around, I don't think, but
Okay.
it was a really nice Epiphone bass, which I still use to record for Drop Spike. I got it for like $60 or something.
Those are the best.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I can't
It's a
I
Epiphone
can't tell you how
Thunderbird.
many cheap guitars I got before I ended up with like the guitars I have now. Like, and I would just go through them. But like, it's
Oh
when
yeah.
you're learning, like it means something to you.
Oh, it absolutely does. And I'm never gonna sell that bass. I don't care how damaged it gets. It's
No,
what
it's
really brought me here today. There was also just this general feeling I felt like a very useless person, back in the day. I genuinely felt like I had nothing to offer the world, and I wanted to just go like, all right, I know I'm here for something, so I want to just put some effort into whatever it is I'm gonna try and pursue. And at the time, it was bass, which later led to, guitar. I was already a drummer at the time, but I wasn't really taking it as seriously as I probably should have.
okay.
I'd say probably really over the past 5 or 6 years or so, I've really started taking it seriously, and it's become my main instrument.
Which is good.
Yeah, no, I genuinely think that me starting learning multiple instruments saved my life. It's, you know,
It gives it not only gives you that purpose, like it's really good to have that outlet to feel creative, even if you barely show it to anyone. It's getting that out of you. Like, it feels good.
well, even just listening to it yourself, it might not be always good. My early stuff was terrible, but
But you can
listening to
still
some
look
of
at
this.
it and go, I made this.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the point I was gonna make. You can still go like, I put the effort into doing this, and then you start getting better at it, and you start recognizing, hey, this kind of sounds like stuff I listen to. Maybe I should keep going, and that feeling just, it's so gratifying, but at the same time, it's just it's liberating. I really genuinely believe that a creative outlet is the best outlet anybody can have.
I
It's,
complete agreement.
yeah,
Like,
it's just such a beautiful thing.
yeah, it makes you feel great. And yeah, like, it does give you almost a purpose. Like
Yeah.
like you're like, I'm doing something with my time. I feel worthwhile. And then if you get like to a point where like you start showing people the stuff you've been doing and they're like, this is great, then it's even more.
Yeah,
All the
and even if not,
endorphins.
just the fact that you're releasing stuff into the world that you feel like, there's a certain cockiness and confidence you kind of have to have in order to be a
Yeah.
musician, I think. Not to the point where you're arrogant as hell and you're just an obnoxious asshole, but,
No, you're allowed to be confident about yourself. Like,
I
that's
definitely
I
agree. And
feel
I
that's
feel like,
it's a healthy thing.
yeah, arrogance is not, but confidence, I believe,
Yeah.
it's extremely attractive,
Yeah. No,
if
and
you're,
yeah,
yeah,
you do have to kind of walk a line sometimes. But yeah,
yeah.
as long as you're not like your ego getting your ego out of control and stuff like that, you're
Hmm.
good. But
Agreed. I'm in complete agreement. Yeah.
so when did you start getting into electronic music? Because I know that's
Uh,
the basis of Orion.
yeah, that was originally how I started producing. I Around middle school, I kind of had a bit of a dubstep phase. I
Okay.
was listening to a lot of Skrillex, a lot of Seven Lions, some Excision, and a couple of underground stuff, which led me to drum and bass music. Like I was seriously getting into Pendulum, and there was a couple of like, new metal bands like Pitch Shifter who had that, breakcore and jungle element to it.
I wish more bands had that in the metal scene.
I agree. Yeah. And then I started discovering some of the 2000 stuff, Apex, Unknown Error, Camo and Crooked, Diesel Boy, some breakcore stuff like Venetian Snares, Drumcore, just all these artists that were just doing insane things with electronic music. I really didn't have that appreciation until I started doing it myself. It's like, man, this is so hard, you know? And then, of course, Apex Twin 2 is massively inspirational.
Aphex Twin took me forever to appreciate. I always liked Come to Daddy, partially because that music video terrified me as a kid.
Oh, same. Yeah.
I saw it at like 14 and I was like, what is this?
What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I knew Pendulum, and I faintly know Diesel Boy, and like all the rest of the ones you mentioned, I have no idea who they are.
Yeah. There's a compilation called The Dungeon Master's Guide that has a lot of drum and bass artists, and another one of my favorites has a couple songs or like VIPs on there, Evil Intent.
Okay.
But yeah, those were the bands that really inspired me to start making music. Like I can remember like I ripped off the intro to Backwards by Apartment 26 on my first EP, Rushing Waves.
Oh yeah, you sent me or you posted the clip the other day.
Yeah, I found the original sample that they used for that song. It's an old funk break that they chopped up.
I remember getting a sample pack for Fruity Loops years ago. Yeah. And I was just going, like, it was all like industrial electronic stuff. And I was going through it. And come to find out, there's 2 or 3 samples from that 20 Dead Flower Children use, 2 or 3 samples that Crossbreed uses, and a couple other bands. They're just in there. I was like, oh,
that's awesome.
They're just royalty-free things that they used.
Yeah.
I'll have to dig them up. I got it. Like, it's like the things like 8,000 like files. Yeah. But
I love it when I find random stuff like that. I really want to find that sort of like, you know, in the intro riff to Seasons by Crossbreed, there's that kind of like,
yes.
Yeah. I want to find that.
Is it a sample or is it like the guy messing with the keys?
It's a sample.
Okay.
Yeah, you can hear it kind of tail off at the end. You can hear it, you know.
Seasons is one of Crossbreed is like an enigma to me. I don't understand how they didn't make it.
I don't either. I was hesitant at first on them, but then I started listening to more of stuff from Synthetic Division, and I was super into it. Like, there's
definitely some like vocal elements where they're lacking, but musically they're excellent.
Yeah, musically they had like crazy energy that I really liked, and they had the axle grinders on stage, which I thought was really,
which is what got them kicked off the stage when I saw them live.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Wow.
It was their reunion tour for New Slave Nation. They played with Dope, Mushroomhead, and Nocturne, and they were the opening, or Nocturne played first, and then they were second. And Crossbreed went 4 songs in, and I can't remember what song they were playing, but he used the grinder, and they turned the stage lights on and told him to get off the stage.
Wow.
So they forced it. So I only got to see 4 songs. I was pissed.
I would have been too.
I think I saw, they didn't even get to Seasons. They did, I remember 48 Grave and the opening track to Synthetic Division, which the name is escaping me.
Me too, yeah.
Is that, wait, is it called Severed?
There is a track on that album called Severed, but I don't remember if it's the opening track.
It's what, I just remember the opening track, they played 48 Grave, but I can't remember the other 2 songs they played. But yeah, they got kicked off the stage, and then...
That's a shame.
I was so mad. Crossbreed was the band I was going to see.
If it was like 2003, I would have been going for Mushroomhead, but...
Yeah, I never saw Mushroomhead pre-Save Your Sorrow. Like, every time I saw them was during Save Your Sorrow, so I never got to see J-Man live, which...
He's incredible.
But the thing was, like, I wanted to continue liking Mushroomhead, but every time I saw them live after that, and I think I saw them 3 times, the energy wasn't there. Like, and you would expect it to be.
Well, there was a lot of inter-band turmoil, and even nowadays, I genuinely think they should break up.
Yeah, it's barely the members anymore, right? Is it just...
Skinny.
Yeah, Skinny. Okay, I was going to say, who's the asshole one?
Yep.
But yeah, God, like every time I saw them, I was like, all right, Mushroomhead again. Do something this time.
Yeah, really. Yeah, which is a shame because they're one of my favorite bands studio-wise, but...
Yeah, the early stuff and Double X and 13.
Incredible.
Untouchable. And Save Your Sorrow is starting to grow on me a little bit, but the ones after it, I still can't find anything that like appeals to me. It's still
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. Yeah, Ian kind of took a while to get into those too, but we've been listening through their discography a bit more, and it's, you know, I can't get over it. It's incredible. Anyway,
so what, like you mentioned production. Are you planning to do that, like do more of that with other artists, or is that just kind of you producing your own stuff?
if it comes up, I can. I've done a couple remixes for other artists in the past, but um, really what I'm going to go into is live sound. That's where most of the work is going to be. That's where most of the money is going to be. So that's what I'm
So
pursuing.
like live mixing and stuff like that?
Live mixing, live production. That's, I did a whole theater festival. It's one of the, biggest ones in the city. And that was really good experience. And then I've done a couple shows here and there, just small, mostly church, but
Yeah, you do what you do.
yeah, exactly. But, live sound is where it's at. I just got to be realistic. As much as I love in studio production, it's just,
Yeah, it is getting easier for like bands to just produce stuff themselves, and it's becoming more commonplace instead of unless you're a pop artist, like, and even them sometimes, but like instead of hiring 20 producers to do shit, like just
exactly, yeah.
most of them do it themselves, for better
For better
or
or for
worse.
worse.
So what are your current and future goals for both Orion and Drop Spike, and any other project you might have waiting in the wings?
Orion, I'm probably gonna retire for a bit after I put out the second part of Heliosphere. I'll be honest, I've on top of everything in life right now with the move and stuff with my family and friends and whatever. I'm just kind of in a creative rut between both of those bands as well as writing for a couple other people as well. I kind of hit a roadblock. I'm still recording some of the stuff I've already written for Drop Spike, but it's, as much as I enjoy it, I do it all the time. It takes a toll on you eventually.
I completely understand. I've been taking a break musically for a while just because I hit a wall when I was doing Backwards Funeral, when I started doing the solo stuff. Like, it just...
Now, that last Backwards Funeral record you did was genuinely enjoyable. So
yeah, no, I was really proud of it. And then I started to do the follow-up, and there's a bunch of like half-finished demos that are sitting online. But I just hit a wall, and I was like, I'm not feeling it. And then I just haven't been feeling it.
No, I completely understand that. And honestly, I think it's weird if any artist doesn't get to that point,
Yeah, and that's why I started working on the detox stuff with like the more guitar heavy. But even that's like been kind of falling off. But eventually, I know it'll all come back around because it's in me to do it.
Absolutely, yeah. I completely agree with you. It's, sometimes it's hard.
So, back to the original consensus. What is the second album that you would like to discuss?
Yeah. In continuing with the theme of having at least one Japanese band on your episodes, Darren Gray's Withering to Death.
No, episode over. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. Darren Gray, more like Darren. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Yeah. Fill in the blank. No, I understand why some certain people like Muck over Darren Gray, like you and Santiago. What I've heard from Muck is fantastic, but something about Darren Gray, as soon as I heard the song Vanitas back in the day, which was like around 2017-ish, I wasn't like super into it at first, but it planted a seed there. And I started slowly listening to more of their catalog, and it just captivated me like no other band has,
I had a friend years ago. We haven't spoken in a long time. But one of her favorite bands, probably top 3, was Darren Gray. So like I was exposed to a lot of Darren Gray early on, and it almost never worked for me, except for a couple occasions she would send me something super catchy, like, I'm gonna butcher the name, Kodao.
Yeah, that's actually on this album. It's the closing track. I think it's pronounced Kodao. Yeah, Kodao.
But like showed me that, and I was like, oh, this is really good. But then would show me like the like more almost metalcore-y stuff, and I was like, I don't like this. But
yeah, they definitely they have a few distinct eras, like from like Misa to Kisu I would say that's like their visual K kind of just straight J rock era. But there was like always some metal elements there. Like I can remember on the album Gauze, there's like the first real track on the album past the intro, Shuain no Isu, I think is how it's pronounced.
Okay.
It's got some crazy energy on that track, you know. So it's always been there. But it really wasn't until Vulgar where they started exploring that new metal and chunky, you know, groovy direction. And that's where they really found their stride, I think.
That was what I was told, like that's when they started, because they didn't always have the new metal elements.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
And I think the last one I heard bits of what's the one from a few years ago? Is it Ouroboros?
Ouroboros, yeah.
Like 2018 or something?
That was 2008.
That was 2000. All right. No, that's not what I'm thinking.
Yeah. You know, 2017, no, 18 was Insulated World.
Maybe that's what it is. There was one that I tried listening to just because I was like, I haven't heard Duran Gray in like 10 years. And then I tried putting it on and I made it like 2 songs and I was like, I don't want to listen to this anymore.
That's fair enough. Yeah, with Withering to Death, the energy on the album is incredible. And they tackle a lot of lyrical subjects also that, you know, while in Japanese, there's a full English lyric book that's in here. They tackle stuff like, you know, abusive relationships, self-harm, suicide, you know, just pure misanthropy. And that, you know, there's tracks on here that are also super beautiful. Like, I keep butchering the pronunciations. Itoshi-sa in like Kudokuni, which is the 4th and 5th tracks on the album.
Well, you're gonna do a lot better than my attempts would be.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, there's like on the chorus of Kudokuni, like there's screams laden across the whole song. It sounds like a psychopath wrote it. And then there's these beautiful falsetto sections in the chorus that just completely contrast with everything. And it sounds so unique and fresh. And
I always did that. That was one thing that I always liked about Duran Gray is I do like his clean vocals. I think he has a very good clean voice.
Well, his range is absolutely insane. Like he's like Japanese Devin Townsend, you know, Kyo.
Yeah.
Like
I can see that.
His vocal range, and especially some of the screams he's been doing recently, like his squeals and his highs are just absolutely off the charts. Some of the best I've ever heard from any metal vocalist, you know.
So was Duran Gray a band that you found through the underground YouTube stuff, or was it for a different way? Because I feel weren't they on a bunch of like video game soundtracks and stuff?
Not to my knowledge. They might have been.
Maybe there's a different
Yeah.
There might have been a different Japanese metal band who was on a bunch.
I can't think right now. But no, I found Duran Gray actually through Loudwire.
Oh, the magazine?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's where I heard the song Vanitas and then Dozing Green off of Ouroboros. That freaking pig squeal at the end of the song just I was like, what was that? Like, I've never heard anything like that before. And what really got me hooked on this album in particular, as well as the band, there's always specific songs that I really attach to on albums. And on this one, it's The Final.
Okay.
The song is called The Final. It's like, that's this album's Spaceships and Airplanes for me.
Like, it's super melodic?
It is very melodic, but it's also got very good riffs. There's some, good clean guitar sections. And the lyrics too are also extremely dark. If you read them in English, it's very self-loathing. It's very depressive, but there's also a sense of hope in there. Like the whole song is about, attempted suicide, and it's a very dark track, but it's really beautiful in my opinion. And
so it's got that emotional pull. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Like
a big thing for me in music is emotional aspects.
I completely get that.
Yeah.
So
but there's
what are some of your favorite songs on the album? Like, I assume you've already mentioned a few, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I can just go by the track listing. Merciless Cult, C, Saku, Kudokuni, the fifth one that starts with an I, Toshisawa, or however you pronounce that, Jesus Christ Rock and Roll is super catchy.
Okay.
It's a bit of a dumber song, but man, it's just so catchy.
Sometimes albums just need the dumber songs. It's fun.
Yeah. And then Machiavellism is really fun. That kind of goes back to their like visual K, J-rock roots a bit. Dead Tree, Beautiful Dirt, really just good heavy tracks. The whole album just front to back is a trip. I highly suggest you check it out.
At some point, I will give it another shot.
Yeah. And if you don't, that is completely fine. But,
I get like, yeah, I keep like kind of dancing my way around it. Like, and some of the stuff you played when we did that album listening stuff the like couple weeks ago, like I enjoyed it. So I need to just kind of dive in and force myself to listen to a whole album and see how I feel about it.
I think I played Audience Killer Loop, which is the intro track to Vulgar, which is another fantastic album.
That one I'd actually heard before. That one has a video, I believe.
I think so. They have so many music videos, it's not even
They have a lot of weird music videos.
Ooh, I don't want to get into that. They got some scarring stuff.
Yeah, like I just remember being shown some of their videos like, okay.
Yeah, the one for Obscure especially, that one is extremely freaky, and I don't like thinking about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's a great song, though. Fantastic song. Just, yeah.
So you're from, if I remember correctly, you are from Florida, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So tell me a little bit about Florida life growing up there as somebody from the Northeast, where it's very cold half the year.
Well, I can say right now, with a humidity at about 90%, it's like, hold on, I can actually check right now. It's hot as shit outside, but
it's a whole 80 degrees today with a little bit of rain.
It's 93. Feels like 102, humidity very high. Yeah. So that's basically what it's like here all the time, even during, some of the winter months. It doesn't get below like in the 50s and 40s. It's like that, another big thing.
I was gonna say that part probably wouldn't bother me as much.
The heat is fine. The humidity is what gets to me. You walk outside and you immediately regret getting ready because it feels like you're just sticky all over.
Yeah.
And then the traffic here is also a burden. There's this one road called I-4, which has been in development since before I was even born, and it's still in development.
I thought our roads were bad.
It's a mess. Yeah, no, it's bad. It's not awful though. There's some really fantastic concert venues here. We have a good House of Blues. Universal has a good venue. There's some stuff downtown in Tampa that gets a lot of great bands in there, mostly like modern metalcore, but the good ones.
Yeah, we don't. Our concert scene kind of died years ago because we have like a couple of like bigger venues for like your like huge artists or classic rock bands who can go on tour and they're going to sell stuff out. Like they can play the casinos and stuff like that. But like as far as like the metal bands go, we have two smaller venues, one of which is just a bar and most bands just avoid.
You were telling me like they intentionally like don't pay them that much.
That was the other one.
Oh, okay.
So the smaller bar one is it's in New Haven. It's called Toad's Place, and it's all right, but it's just so small that it's hard to get like attract bands to play it.
Right. Yeah.
The other one, whoever the owner was in like the mid 2000s kept like trying to like not pay bands, or they would force local bands to sell tickets and basically pay to play.
That's ridiculous.
Like to absurd levels. Like they'd be like, you can make money if you sell 50 of these tickets. It's like, what? That's ludicrous.
Yeah, that's really scummy. I hate that.
And the thing is, like, local bands, unless you have a major band coming through, you're not going to sell 50 tickets.
No.
Especially if it's a major band, the tickets are going to be more. They probably have more luck if it was just like a local show, but it's like $8 a ticket. But
with no cover charge. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But yeah, they kept screwing people over, and then just eventually it got around and bands stopped coming through.
Yeah, see, I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I gotta basically, if I want to go to any good shows, majority of the time I gotta drive an hour up to Worcester, Mass. And that's the best I got. Because I'm not going to New York and I'm not going to Boston. Providence
I
is
wouldn't
okay.
either.
Providence is okay, but it's like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
And I only went there once, and that was to see Stabbing Western. And that was like, I'm going. I don't care how far it is.
I'm sure that was worth it.
Yeah, except for the fact that they played it. Their set started at 12:30 at night, and it ended at 2 in the morning, and then I had to drive 2 hours back home.
Yeah, like, no, screw that.
I didn't know until I got there what the set times were. Like they announced like 2 opening bands, and I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. But what they didn't say was that there was actually 4 opening bands, and they were doing DJ sets in between each band.
What?
Which was cool, like because it was like when it's not doing metal shows, it's like it's this weird barcade / goth club.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Which
would have been nice to know beforehand, though.
Yeah, like so visually, the place was excellent, and it was also some of the best sound I've ever heard, like in a live venue. But like going into it, I wasn't prepared. If I had known that, I would have like slept in the afternoon. But like I just stayed. I think I actually worked that day, and then left, and then me and my brother went out there. But that was a long night.
Yeah, no, I bet that sounds exhausting.
So, is there much of a, like, I know historically Florida has a very strong scene in multiple genres. Is there a strong scene right now, or are you aware of?
Not really in the sort of new metal vein. I know mostly a lot of progressive bands here. You know, we have some very good progressive bands here that are definitely more local. Like I'm very good friends with the singer for a band called Auditory Armory. I think they're quite good.
Okay.
There's another one called The Dev that plays like, it's more like Avenged Sevenfold-y hard rock, you know, later Avenged Sevenfold stuff.
Okay, well, that's
it's also good, you know. Are you familiar with a band called The Pineapple Thief?
No.
Okay, so they're the sort of larger, like, soft prog band or whatever. Gavin Harrison of Porcupine Tree, etc., was drumming for them when I saw them live, and they brought on a local band called Better Strangers.
Okay.
Who I thought had a really good energy. It was definitely more of a classic rock, hard rock vibe, but it was definitely fun. I met the band at their merch table after the show, and they were really nice dudes. So it was, you know, we have a decent scene.
That is good. Yeah, we barely have one. Like, I feel I've mentioned
that's a shame.
Connecticut's mostly known for Hatebreed and Michael Bolton. Like,
you were telling me that.
That's our thing.
There's more stuff to be known for.
And then, the prog Fate's Warning. Like, that's for the older folks.
Yeah.
But yeah, we haven't had a strong active scene here in quite some time. Yeah. We had around maybe like 2010, the metalcore scene started picking up, because we're kind of in a weird spot, Connecticut, because New York was the hardcore. Like, that was the big hardcore scene, and Massachusetts was actually a fairly decent new metal scene, because that was like your Godsmacks, your Stained, Reveille, Null Set, and all.
Reveille's from Mass?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. All
East Side and Crown Vic, I believe, as well. So all those bands are from Mass, and nice. Connecticut's right in the middle, and Rhode Island doesn't count. And so we just we had a few new metal bands and a few hardcore bands, and they could never decide what they wanted to do. And so, yeah, nobody ever really broke through except for Hatebreed in Connecticut.
Yeah.
But in like the 2010s, we started to have a pretty decent metalcore scene. A few of my friends were still playing in bands around that time. And like, it would look like it was starting to rise. And then like a bunch of the local people who were like the strong promoters, like there was this kid who I was kind of friends with named Jesse. And he heavily promoted all these shows and everything like that. And then something happened and he just vanished from the scene.
That's so strange.
I haven't heard from him in years. Almost nobody else has either. I have no idea what happened to him. Like, I know he's alive somewhere.
That's kind of concerning.
I just don't know where he is.
Yeah. I don't know. He probably had some really bad interaction with the band. I know that happens, you know.
It probably and he was in bands too for many years. He was I was in a band of his very briefly, but him and the drummer could not get along, so it like kind of imploded. But yeah, like I miss there being a strong local scene. Like they've been trying, it's been limping for years. But I
Yeah,
don't know if it's gonna get any better.
I hope it does. I think every, decent city deserves a good, strong local music scene, especially if you like musicians are everywhere. If there's no scene to start out in, you're kind of already screwing yourself over, especially
Yeah.
if you're not good at the social media game, which I know I'm not.
And the thing is, it also a strong local scene also helps entice bands to come through
Yeah,
because they're like, oh, okay, so these local shows are selling really well. So if we come through, we can play a bigger venue with these bands who are already kind of establishing themselves. Like,
exactly. Yeah,
so
I think that's yeah, it's great
I was gonna say
if that happens.
that's probably another part of the reason Connecticut doesn't get shit. So how much of a gamer are you?
Definitely not as much as I used to be, but I was a big FPS guy for years.
Okay, I definitely had my phase with it.
Yeah.
So what were some of your favorite games?
Well, Team Fortress 2 was my go-to.
Okay,
Yeah.
I vaguely remember you and Harvey and all them having GIF wars with the Team Fortress stuff.
Yeah, wow, I completely forgot about that. That's like early New Chord lore.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
That was fun times.
I think I faintly played Team Fortress because I have the orange box, so I definitely have it. But
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think it's Greedy who yells at me on a regular basis that I've never played the Half-Life games, even though I have the
Oh, you
orange
should.
box. And
Yeah.
I've got no excuse not to. They're right there.
Yeah. No, you definitely should. The Half-Life games are great. I love pretty much every Valve game minus like Dota 2 or whatever.
I've never played Dota. Like those, I've watched videos of those types of games, and I'm
I
like,
don't like
I
MMOs.
don't think I could do this.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I've
yeah,
definitely been more of an FPS guy. I played competitive CS:GO for a bit. I played a lot of Portal 2, you know.
love Portal 2.
Oh
Actually, I
yeah,
love both Portals, but
yeah. The Half-Life series. Last year of school, somebody brought in their Xbox 360. We played Left 4 Dead in class. We attached it to one of the TVs or whatever.
mhm.
We played Left 4 Dead 2, so that was cool. I loved that
Excellent.
game.
I played very little of the second one, but I played a lot of the first one. I don't think I ever ended up beating it because
I never
like
played the original. I've only played Left 4 Dead 2.
there really is not much of a difference. If you played two, you've played one essentially.
Fair enough.
Uh, are you a big movie person?
Uh, Not as much as I probably should be, but I could talk films. My favorite movie of all time is the original Matrix.
Which is not a bad shout at all.
Yeah, no. The sequels after that they're fun for what they are, but they're definitely not that cinematic masterpiece that I definitely think the original is. I think Lawrence Fishburne's performance as Morbius is yeah, is
Have you seen the new one?
no, unfortunately I haven't. I've heard very mixed things about it. It was around the time we were still moving, so we really didn't have a lot of time to see movies.
Completely fair. I couldn't tell you the last new movie I saw. I haven't seen it either. I just remember seeing trailers for it and I was like, oh, The Matrix. Again. All right, cool.
The last new movie I saw, I think, was Shang-Chi,
Don't know what that is.
the Marvel movie.
I am so behind on the Marvel movies.
Fair enough, yeah. Now that was also. I know it's got its plot holes and it's mostly just eye candy, but I really do like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what that brought. It's not exactly incredible, but I mean, it's just good movies.
The thing is, no, I do enjoy them. It's just it's such an investment to continue watching them because
Yeah,
it's like you need to. I remember I've seen the first two Avengers. I've seen uh the three Iron Mans, Spider-Man, the first one,
yeah,
bunch of the Captain America, Thor. But then when it started spreading out even further, like I started to kind of lose my way a bit. And then
yeah.
the kicker was when a friend of mine wanted to watch the third Avengers movie. I was like, okay, I'll watch that.
Well, that was Endgame, right?
Yeah. So I had seen the
I know
first two.
Infinity War. Yeah,
Yeah, it
Infinity
was
War.
Infinity War.
Yeah,
So I'd seen the first two Avengers and I'd seen a bunch of other movies. And then we started three, and I was like, who's that guy? Who's this?
yeah.
What's going on? And they're like, oh, you need to see Doctor Strange and you need to see what's the one that's a TV show?
Oh, oh shoot.
It's
The
a
white dude moon.
no. Oh no, it's a WandaVision.
WandaVision, yeah.
Yeah,
I've never seen a single episode of
yeah,
that.
I haven't either. And then I was like, "Who's that?" It's like, "Oh, it's Wanda." I'm like, "I okay." And then it was it was all these other things. It's like,
Yeah.
all right,
Well, I knew who Wanda was from Age of Ultron, but I mean, I never watched any of the TV shows. I'm missing a lot of the original stuff, like the original Iron Man, Iron Man 2, the first Thor. I saw, I believe it was Thor: The Dark World, I believe it was called, Ragnarok, all the Avengers movies, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, some of the awful ones. I thought Shang-Chi was also really good, but
there's one day I'm gonna
so
sit
many.
down and I'm gonna watch a bunch of them because I still need to
That's
see.
going to take you a while.
I know.
Yeah,
I just get Disney Plus and watch all of it.
fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, I still need to see Black Panther. I still need to see uh the second Ant-Man, the second and third Spider-Man.
You're not missing much with the Ant-Man movies. I didn't think they were
I
that
saw the
great.
first one. I thought it was okay.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's it.
there's a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Are you how are you in reading?
I barely read books. I'm not really a big book guy, so I really
You and
couldn't.
Santiago both.
Yeah, sorry.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, sorry. I couldn't really talk books if I had to.
What are some of your other interests outside of music?
Uh, well, collecting is big for me. I love a lot of off things.
Okay.
I'm actually into Hot Wheels collecting, like die cast cars and stuff like that. I think those are really
I
cool.
I was as a kid, and I really wish I
Yeah,
still had them.
yeah. I still have most of mine from childhood, and I still collect every once in a while. There was this series of movies I loved as a kid called Acceleracers, and I was so into that. And a lot of the cars from those movies are actually stupidly rare.
Okay, I don't think I've ever heard of
So
that.
yeah, it was like 2005. I was quite young at the time. I didn't watch it until much later, but also mechanical keyboards. I It's something I've been sort of getting into recently. It's a bit of a boring hobby to a lot of people, but I genuinely think like customizable typing. It's
Like typewriter or like for
no,
computers?
like keyboards with like switches instead of like a membrane keyboard. You'd have one with like physical like individual switches, and there's different
Oh,
keycap
okay.
variations.
I
Yeah,
get what you're talking
yeah,
about now. Okay.
yeah. Gamer keyboards, so to speak.
Okay.
But
Um,
I
yeah,
don't have
like,
a whole lot of. Yeah, I don't have a ton of hobbies outside of music. I'm definitely a jack of all trades in a lot of areas, but
do you
you know,
still, I can't remember if do you draw or paint?
I'm a Photoshop artist. I'm a graphic
Photo,
artist.
okay, graphic artist. That's what it was.
Yeah. No,
Um,
why didn't I say that? No, I do it semi-professionally. Yeah, no, I've been doing like logos and album covers and stuff for a few years now. Photoshop, Illustrator. I've been working in that for a while. That's kind of on par with music. I do all my own art and stuff. So
yeah, some of your logo work I've seen for not only your stuff, but other projects is really, really well done. Like,
thank you. It definitely took a lot of practice. Some of that stuff, like the Glass Roses logo I showed you, that was originally a drawing that I digitized in Illustrator.
that one I really liked. The extent of me doing my own artwork is I find an interesting looking font on DaFont, and then that's it.
Yeah, I have so many DaFont files.
Yeah, I have way too many.
Yeah, I've way
To
too
the
many.
point where I forget what half of them are and why I downloaded them.
Yeah, same. There's like, oh, that one looks cool, download it. Oh, that one looks cool, download, and I just chain
There's
download.
so many I used like once, and then like I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I downloaded that.
Yeah,
Okay, but then it like buries the ones I'm looking for. One day I'll actually go through all that stuff.
yeah, I need to delete a ton of mine.
All right, so I'm gonna try something that I didn't try with Santiago.
Okay.
So I want to do a thing that I've just called rapid fire because it made the most sense.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask a question, and then you just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind
Oh boy.
as
Okay.
far as an answer goes. So
Gotcha.
this is gonna be in two parts, and I'll let you know when the second part starts. So I'm gonna ask a question, and you just tell me the first thing that you think of. What is the worst new metal album you've ever heard all the way through?
The first Spout album. This is the answer.
I have heard that, and it's terrible. Yes.
That's literally one of the worst albums I've heard, if not the worst album I've heard in my life.
Yeah, I jokingly listened to it once because Santiago shit on it so badly. I was like, it can't be that bad. And I listened to like 3 songs. I was like, ugh, this is bad. How do these guys really stick around? What is your favorite new metal hit song?
My favorite new metal hit song? Wow. If it counts, I'd probably have to say like, oh shoot, that is so hard. There's so many. I want to say like, does Prayer by Disturbed count?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that I really love that song. Believe as an album, I think is fantastic.
But I like that way more than The Sickness, and everyone thinks I'm
crazy. Me too. Yeah.
What is your favorite new metal music video?
I adore the music video, the second one for Nil by Mouth by Blind Spot. Okay. That's a really cool video. I have so many cool ones. What You Got by Reveille is super fun. The music video where Jonathan Davis and Fred Durst are detectives, is that Cold song?
Give.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool music video, even despite...
the weird monster.
Yeah, that one was interesting. Yeah, there's a bunch of cool ones. Let's think about it. Rearranged by Limp Bizkit has a cool video.
Oh, yeah.
If it counts, because I count Duran Gray's a new metal band, the music video for Saku is super cool.
Okay.
It's not completely horrifying or anything. I just think it's real grungy.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Duran Gray video that doesn't scar you for life? What? Yeah, there you go.
Who is your favorite harsh new metal vocalist?
My favorite harsh new metal vocalist? J-Man from Mushroom Head is up there for me. Cameron Heacock from American Head Charge. Definitely 2 that I think are fantastic. Some of the screams on the Step album are fantastic. Even though I prefer his cleans, I think there's a lot of great screams on there. Yeah, that's Mushroom Head and American Head Charge mostly.
That's fair. And I kind of know the answer to this one. Favorite clean new metal vocalist?
Blake from Steppa.
Yeah.
Other than that, early Incubus, Brandon Boyd.
I do like his voice a lot.
Yeah.
Even though like Incubus did kind of lose me at a point, like I still think he has a really good voice.
Yeah, I think his voice is absolutely beautiful.
Favorite new metal rapper?
Favorite new metal rapper? Well, I mean mainstream choice, but I mean I love Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park.
He's good.
You know, what in the world is the dude's name from Reveille?
Drew,
yeah. Drew from Reveille is really good.
Similardis or something. He's on my Facebook.
Yeah.
I was half expecting you to say Grim.
Oh, Grim from Darwin's Waiting Room is definitely really good. My mind goes blank whenever I'm asked to rapid fire.
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah. Also back to clean vocalist Stephen Richards from Taproot.
But he has such a whiny voice. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I love Stephen's voice.
Yeah, me too.
Favorite new metal drummer?
Oh, definitely. What is his name? He's in the band Atom Ship.
Oh, Chad something.
Yeah, Chad from Atom Ship is super good.
Kent, I think.
Yeah, I'm not really.
He commented on one of my uploads, the Atom Ship Down one. Yeah. He was like, "Where did you get this?"
That's cool. And then of course Joey Jordison
is a monster.
You know, Skinny back in the day from Mushroom Head definitely had some good drumming. You know, not incredible, but you know.
I always thought their drumming was good. I always thought their guitar playing was kind of lax, but it was minimalistic in a way where it worked. I wasn't bothered by it.
Yeah, it was definitely just good, solid riffs. It wasn't anything technical. Most of my favorite drummers come from like the prog and post-hardcore sphere.
What's your favorite metalcore band?
My favorite metalcore band is probably, oh man, that is so hard. Like Periphery, do they count?
Yeah.
I don't know, Periphery or like Parkway Drive, Killswitch Engage. Um, Phoenix Morning, who I told you about, who
I listened to some of their stuff.
Yeah, Phoenix Morning is definitely up there for me.
And the last one of this section, what is your favorite European nu metal band?
Headplate.
Okay. All right.
Probably Headplate, yeah. Other than that, like Redefine, Earth Tone 9 is really good. I don't know.
I only know Arctangent from Earth Tone 9, but I really like
Great
that.
album.
All right. And the second part of this rapid fire, this will probably drive you just as crazy. So This one I'm calling Mainstream Attack, and I want you to tell me your favorite song from the following bands.
Okay.
Linkin Park.
With You.
Papa Roach.
Oh, shoot, man. Broken Home.
Slipknot.
Purity.
Korn.
Let's Get This Party Started.
Good choice. Coal Chamber.
Sway.
Deftones.
I Hate You. Oh, man. I guess Cherry Waves.
That's a good shot.
Yeah.
You don't want to say Pink Cell Phone?
Ugh. I'll leave that for somebody else.
Limp Bizkit.
Rearranged.
That's actually one of my favorites as well.
Yeah.
Soulfly.
No Hope, No Fear.
Seven Dust.
Man, that is also super hard. They're another one of my favorite nu metal bands. Beautiful from Animosity.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't like that song.
Yeah.
I had to think about it. Static X.
This Is Not.
Disturbed.
Something off of Believe. Probably the title track from Believe or Remember. I said Prayer earlier because that was like the big hit off that album, but Remember off of that album is incredible.
I think my favorite single from that album is Liberate. Like I
Liberate
never get tired of that one.
Yeah.
Non-Point.
Mint.
That one's really good.
Yeah.
Mudvayne.
Shoot. That's a toss-up between Severed and Death Blooms. I can't choose. They're both up there for me.
I remember I was put off the first time I heard Death Blooms. I don't know why. I think it was his vocals, and I just heard Dig. I was like, but now I love that song.
Yeah. I've heard from people that the big contention with Mudvayne is that they love the rhythm section, but find the riffs boring sometimes, and they don't like Chad's voice, which I don't understand personally, but tastes are different.
I've definitely heard people who say they don't like Chad's voice.
Yeah.
But I like the riffing. I think
Greg Tribbett. It's Tribbett, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Tribbett or Tribbett.
I think he's good. I think he's really good.
All right, two more. Orgy.
Stitches.
Good choice. POD.
Sleeping Awake.
Oh, the Matrix one.
Yeah.
That's a good choice. All right, so that was that. What is your third album that you would like to talk about?
All right, we're diving into the post-hardcore realm. This is probably my favorite post-hardcore album of all time, and that is Dead Poetics' New Medicines.
I had a friend who was a big Dead Poetic fan. I've only heard like 2 or 3 songs ever, I think.
Well, that whole album, for me, I try not to say life-changing too much about certain albums, but that album was genuinely life-changing for me in a lot of ways. It helped me discover who would eventually become my favorite band, which I intentionally left them out of the album roster because I'd want to talk about their whole discography, which is Hope's Fall.
Yeah, okay.
But in terms of Dead Poetics, New Medicines, again, lyrical content on the album is brilliant to me. It's genuinely brought me to tears on more than one occasion with songs like Venus Empty, Molotov, the title track, New Medicines. I get excited.
No, it's good to get excited about it.
Yeah,
it's good when you've heard an album so many times, but it's still like you get excited when the song comes on.
Yeah, it's really fresh in my mind. The opening track on the album, the Taste the Red Hands, it has a really good stomping energy, like right out the gate, and it's, you know, it definitely sets the pace, you know, in terms of the chorus. Like it is good screaming vocals. It's technically like screamo also.
That's a way I've heard it described.
Yeah. And
Where did you hear about Dead Poetic?
See, that's the thing. I don't remember. Okay. I remember one of the first times I heard the band was I was in a van. It was on a church trip, and the song "New Medicines" came on, you know, and I was immediately captivated by the lyrics to that song because it definitely felt like how I felt at the time in terms of my own faith and my own, you know, qualms with things I was dealing with at the time. It was, you know.
Are they Christian?
This is a very sobering album, I think.
Are they a Christian metal band?
They are a Christian band. Yeah, they were signed to Solid State back in the day with like Beloved and Demon Hunter and stuff like that.
I like Demon Hunter.
Me too.
What are some of your favorite songs from the album? I know you mentioned the title track.
Yeah, my favorite off the album is Venus Empty.
Okay.
Which it's like there's some very beautiful like higher chord riffing on the album, and the lyrics definitely strike a chord with me as well.
What are some other post-hardcore bands that you hold in high regard, like Dead Poetic?
Well, there's Hope's Fall, obviously. There was this sort of electronic-leaning post-hardcore duo from back in the day called Idiot Pilot.
You've mentioned them to me, and I still don't think I've checked them out.
Yeah, it's fun. They're fantastic to me. Beloved, like I said. Poison the Well is huge for me.
I remember being shown Poison the Well like before I had really gotten used to like any sort of screaming music.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, Jeffrey's vocals are definitely kind of something that's a bit of an acquired taste, especially when you go back to stuff like The Opposite of December. But, that band really captivated me. The riffs were fantastic. I think some of the lead lines on songs like Slice Paper Wrists off that album are just so smooth.
I think that's the one that I was shown. I was shown them around the same time as From Autumn to Ashes, and there was another band that was similar to that, and I'm just forgetting what the name was.
Yeah, I never got super into From Autumn to Ashes. I listen to like Holding the Wolf by the Ears, I think the album is called. And then there's Boy Sets Fire and Snapcase, which I love too. They're definitely more on the hardcore side.
I like Boy Sets Fire. I don't think I've ever really listened to Snapcase.
Yeah, the vocals are definitely something to get used to. He's got a bit of a squelchy voice, kinda, but I definitely hold them in high regard.
Are you a Blindside fan or Thursday?
Absolutely, yeah. I think Pitiful is a great album.
That one, yeah.
No, sorry, Silence. Pitiful was the song. Pitiful was the song. Silence was the album.
I saw the video to Pitiful, like with the rotating room.
The rotating room, yeah.
I was like, this is awesome. I totally didn't see this already in Stitches, kind of, but I love it.
Yeah. Sleepwalking off that album was my favorite for the longest time. I listened to that song on repeat.
That one I really like. Cute Boring Love I like a lot. Midnight I was a big fan of, and what is it? It's Painting Something. I can't remember what the rest of the song.
I can't remember either.
But I like that whole album start to finish. Yeah. I even liked their stuff after it. Like they started to go a little softer on About a Burning Fire, and I was a fan of it.
Yeah. There's also a sort of Southern influenced post-hardcore band I've been getting into lately called He Is Legend.
I don't think I've ever heard of them.
Okay. Check out the album I Am Hollywood when you get the chance. The Creature Walks, Dinner with a Gypsy. There's some fantastic stuff on there.
They're newer?
No, they're older, like early 2000s.
All right, I will look into that.
Most of the stuff is.
Now, you alluded to me that there's a fourth album that you want to talk about. All right, have at it. The one you just got. All right.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I was hoping I'd get it today because I wanted to have like that CD show off. But no, you can thank Santiago for that when he showed me them a couple of years ago, and I immediately fell in love with that album from front to back.
They're a band I need to spend more time with. I know like 2 songs.
I agree. Yeah. I think Andrew Mescal's vocals is definitely like in that Steven Richards category. It's kind of that like off-kilter, like whiny vocal, but it's definitely a lot more. What captivated me was the emotion. Big whoop. You know, I've said that about every single album on here, but legitimately, like, you can feel like almost every song on this album is about a failing relationship, but like, you know.
Those are the best grounds to start a song.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I'd say so. Apologies, I kind of blew my throat out earlier. But
you're perfectly fine.
Yeah. Yeah, from the opening notes of Anyone, there's a lot of like really good like dual acoustic stuff on this album too that's strung about a few songs. Like Anyone, Aora has some really good sections. Like the intro to Bovril is really good. And of course, like the single from this album, Things They Say, I probably have like 70-something plays on that since I've started using Last.fm more.
The little bits I remember, like I definitely got a Taproot meets Incubus vibe from from the songs I remember hearing.
Yeah,
and not in a bad way at all. Like I like both those bands, so.
Yeah, well, absolutely. There's definitely that vibe there. And I also think that the riffage on the album is definitely a lot more of a higher caliber than some of the bands at the time.
Is this the one that's before or after? Is it Collapse of Air?
A Collapse of Air was after this one.
Okay.
They went in a slightly more metalcore direction with that one. There's still some new metal elements, but I love both of those albums, though.
I believe I know one song from each. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I definitely suggest checking out this record. The song Red Bamboo is skippable. That's the only complaint I have with it, but everything surrounding that I think it's genuinely a lost classic in my opinion, you know.
One bad song on an album is fine.
Yeah, exactly.
How dare you?
How dare you?
I know.
Have creative droughts.
Yeah, how dare you make one mistake? Throw this album in the garbage. All right. So is there anything else coming up on the horizon that you would like to promote or just your music in general?
I mean, just my music in general. The Drop Spike EP will come out sometime this year. It will come out before the end of the year. That's all I'll promise, you know.
How many songs is it going to be, or do we not know yet?
6.
6?
Yeah.
All right. So we already have 3 out. I assume all 3 of those are going to be on it?
Yes.
All right.
It was mostly what I could afford for the drums. I had the room sound removed from my drums by somebody else. I mix and master it myself, but I'm still not all there yet in terms of processing raw audio. So
yeah, you got plenty of time.
I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah, no, do exactly that. So I assume you're going to be keeping Doug busy, getting all those scratches in there.
Yep, hopefully very soon.
Excellent. And you said, Orion, when is the second part of Heliosphere coming out? I think I got that right.
Whenever I finish it.
Okay.
I'm not going to set a deadline for that yet. That is just very much it's a passion project at the moment, but it's one that's very long. So.
Okay. So just like taking it as it goes.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, all right. Thank you for coming on, Orion.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you having me on. This was fun.
And so for everyone else out there, we'll see you next time. I have no idea who the next guest is going to be, but stay tuned.
It'll be someone good.
It better be.